I speak to you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. In her book, The Deepest Belonging, Cara Root says, "My grandfather was famous in our family for being able to fit £10 into a £5 box. I inherited and honed this trait, and for much of my teenage and adult life, I was a proud multitasker. I knew how to pack more things into less time, to wow people with my ability to accomplish. But I slowly began to discover that whilst I could competently fit £10 into a £5 box, I didn't know how to fit £5 into a £5 box. And £4 would have been impossible. I didn't have any margins, any room, any rest. I could do many things at once, but I could not do just one thing. I was ignoring the perimeters, boundaries and limits God had given me. I was packing so much into my life and moving so fast that I was not receiving my life as a gift to receive and enjoy, but turning my life into a task to accomplish." The story of Martha and Mary is often coupled with the question, are you a Mary or are you a Martha? And I'm sure many of you can identify with both of these women. Earlier in Luke, we see Jesus teaching the disciples about the need to give up their status and become like children. And this teaching of discipleship is furthered through the story of Martha and Mary. Martha is distracted from listening to Jesus by her desire to provide physical hospitality. However, Mary is providing hospitality in a different way, by sitting at Jesus' feet and listening to him. What good host would invite a guest into their home and then ignore them? Both the sisters are providing hospitality, albeit in quite different ways. However, Martha is not happy and doesn't recognise that her way is not the only way. Martha complains and Jesus challenges her, saying, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Let's open this out now and explore what Jesus is saying. On first glance, the obvious shock is perhaps to question why Martha is being scolded by Jesus for working hard to provide hospitality. And why is Mary doing the right thing by not helping? Perhaps we are looking through the eyes of our own culture, where we are rewarded for hard work and admonished for laziness. The problem is not that Martha is working hard, but that she is worried and distracted, pulled in many directions. There are other examples of this, including the Transfiguration. Peter was keen to show physical hospitality, just as Martha was, saying, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." However, we then read the next verse. A voice came down from the cloud saying, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." Martha is no doubt a server. Her gift is in the preparing and serving of food, but we see her criticising Mary and even accusing Jesus of not caring. Martha is not truly present with Jesus. She has got her priorities wrong by focusing exclusively on earthly things. Luke is emphasising a radical change from self-sufficiency to the obedience to Christ. Martha wanted to be in control. With God, we must defer control to God himself. Martha perhaps needed to realise that her value is not in what she does, but who she is. that is, a child of God. On a personal note, I seem to have been a bit of a Martha all my life, until I found Christ. Until then, I had a God-shaped hole in my heart that I tried to fill with earthly matters. In the 17th century, mathematician Pascal referred to this God-shaped hole as an infinite abyss, which can only be filled with an infinite and immutable object, in other words, by God himself. And earlier, at the end of the 4th century, Augustine in his Confessions stated, "You have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless till they find their rest in you." I can very much relate to this. In my late teens and my 20s, my life was skiing. That was the most important thing in my life. But in my late 20s, I thought, I can't do this forever and return to the UK. It was awful. My home was suddenly empty. However, it wasn't long before it was filled again. Career, student, businesswoman, more. My life was based on what I did, not who I was. And then I became a Christian. I am now no longer searching for who I am. I know who I am. I am one of God's children, and I love it. My God-shaped hole is filled with God, and the search is over. As Christians, we worship God above everything else. We are children of God, and this can never be taken away. We're so lucky with that. We don't need to earn this. It is given freely by God. But we can still enjoy our work, hobbies and such, and so we should. After all, God gave us this earth and a life to be productively lived on earth. But we always need to be careful to keep this in balance. Martha did not. Her intentions in hospitality were well meant, but her priorities were all wrong. We must be careful not to let our gifts become more important to us than recognising and being who we are. We must be careful not to use them to fill the hole in our hearts that is meant for God. I will close with some lyrics from the song "To Be in Your Presence" by Noel Richards. To be in your presence, you sit at your feet, where your love surrounds me and makes me complete. This is my desire, O Lord. This is my desire. To rest in your presence, not rushing away. To cherish each moment, here I will stay. This is my desire, O Lord. This is my desire. Amen.